Batman has a problem, but not the kind that implies I take issue with the representation of the character we've been fed pretty much my entire life, because I don't, at least not in isolation. Batman today more than ever lacks true balance. What we fundamentally have is a variety problem, or lack thereof. I take issue with this especially because it's disturbed a historical stability the character used to maintain with flying colours. Look back to the original detective noir comics from Bob Kane and Bill Finger, which naturally became more whimsical and camp in the 50s and 60s. This obviously bled into Batman's live action appearances, where Adam West brought those more wacky, light-hearted stories to life before Tim Burton reintroduced the character as a dark gothic entity in the late 80s. An undeniable form of course correction, but not because people fell out of love with sillier takes on Batman. Instead, fans simply did not want Batman to be relegated exclusively to these cheesy Adam West shackles. By the time Returns rolled around, gothic Batman might have overstayed its welcome, causing parents to complain in large that the film was too dark, which made McDonald's pressure the studio into making the follow-up films more kid-friendly. By now, the pattern should be clear as day. Batman exists within an eternal tug of war, which keeps the character constantly in a state of reinvention. Dark noir comic book turns into bright 60s cheese fest, gothic Burton imagery into Joel Schumacher's art pop spectacle.
I freeze. I'm Batman.
This is how Batman should be. This is balance. Sadly, Batman's on-screen camp revival might have been a bit ahead of its time. I can understand how ice skates and a Bat credit card might have been hard to stomach then, but now I look back on these films with a fondness because this would be the last time fun was truly prioritized in live-action Batman. Enter the Nolan era. This was my Batman. Begins as one of the first movies I ever owned on DVD. I can sing the praises of this trilogy without effort and acknowledge it was initially following the natural order of things in terms of Batman's on-screen representation. From dark to wacky to dark again. But could anyone have foreseen Nolan's blueprint being so impactful, so influential in its grounded nature that we would see more fantastical elements of the character, all but sacrificed? This is felt mostly in the Rogues Gallery. We went from Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze to Anarchist Bane and Zodiac Riddler. A major appeal in Batman as a character is seeing this normal guy, no superpowers at his disposal, take on these monstrous villains, a mutated crocodile or a man made of clay. Outside of live action, within the realm of animation, Batman has actually done a great job not just maintaining the balance, but actively marrying it. Batman the animated series definitely falls more under the darker, serious detective drama umbrella, but never fully abandons the fantastical, whimsical, or plain fun elements of the character. Brave and the Bold does the exact same, but in reverse, a campy, light-hearted show that leaves plenty of room for real tension and seriousness. Speaking of Brave and the Bold, I have a real enthusiasm for the upcoming DCU solo Batman film, not because I'm particularly excited to get invested in yet another on-screen Batman whilst Pattinson is still in action, but because of the potential contrast I anticipate to distinguish this iteration from the other. Pattinson is dark and grounded, so we go bright and stylized. There's a reason fans keep begging for the blue cow. Pattinson's villains are practical, so we go fantastical. Pattinson is in his early years in Solo, so we go veteran with a sidekick. Side note, Robin, one of Batman's most important elements, was in many ways the birth of his campy, more light-hearted pivot into colourful, sillier, wackier stories. This era of Batman actually gave us a lot from Batgirl, Batwoman, Batmite, Ace the Bat Hound, not to mention the characterization of a lot of these iconic characters. Mr. Zero became Mr. Freeze, Joker went from a sadistic criminal mastermind to a flamboyant, wacky gadget trickster clown. Sadistic criminal mastermind. The Batmobile became the one we all know and love. I say all this on the heels of my previous video where I ultimately came to the conclusion that DC is over-reliant on Batman in video games media in response to the recent LEGO Batman announcement. And sure, LEGO Batman has basically been maintaining this balance I've been demanding for years. In my youth I was playing both Arkham Asylum and LEGO Batman. I saw the LEGO Batman movie at cinema, and honestly in my view it not only understood the character better than any of his live action counterparts, but actively embraced the comic book roots with an enthusiasm we rarely ever see in adaptation, point blank, period. But I don't think fun or silly Batman should be shackled or relegated only to LEGO appearances. It reinforces the fundamental issue I have with the discourse surrounding the balance. This isn't Batman for kids versus Batman for adults. Like I just mentioned, I was consuming both forms of Batman media in my youth, and I want to take a quick look at another franchise I'm very passionate about that actually had a pretty great crossover with Batman not too long ago. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. From the violent, edgy Mirage comics to goofy campy 80s Saturday morning cartoons, which within itself underwent some drastic tonal shifts, i.e. Red Sky arc. Then came the faithful, mature live-action indie debut before the more wacky, light-hearted sequels followed. The 2000s gave us Dark Turtles again with the TMNT animated movie and the animated series, which slid into goofy territory in its later seasons. 2012 Turtles was largely a perfect blend of both grit and cheese. Bay Turtles I honestly wouldn't know how to characterize, and Rise was an anime with a Teen Titans Go coat of paint, and now we're at Mutant Mayhem, which is more kid-friendly, but with concerned seeds of darker Turtles media firmly planted for the follow-up. I say all this to illustrate what true balance looks like. Regardless what kind of Turtles fan you are, you never truly have to experience a drought of Turtles content on either end of the spectrum, whether it's in film, animation, video games, etc. Some might look to that and say inconsistent, but if you're consistently inconsistent, to me that sounds a lot more like balance. Make Batman fun again. That's not to say there's no fun to be had in these darker, more grounded Batman stories. I laughed a lot watching the Batman, but I simply want to see the Caped Crusader again for a change. I want to see Batman crack a smile, bust a joke, sing a song, be a hero instead of a Dark Knight 15 times over. But hey, what do I know? Thank you so much for watching this video, and do let me know where you stand on Batman's media representation. It's something I feel has been simmering within the community for years now. In the meantime, I'll leave you with this and wish you well.